5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is Deducter bringing you set 6 of CJ versus KT, a must-win game for CJ. And if KT can win this, they will take the series. We have Hydra versus Stats. This is going to be an exciting matchup. Hydra is the Zerg player at the 1 o'clock position. Hydra is the Zerg player, and Stats, of course, is the Protoss player at the 7 o'clock position. Hydra is brown and Stats is yellow. This is on the map New Bloody Ridge, where many an epic ZVP have been fought. I have to give Hydra advantage here. Stats has always been a reliable member of the KT Rolster team, but he has seen better days, I would say. He's not really shown that he is going to be capable of dealing with a player of, I feel, Hydra's caliber. Hydra, ex-MSL champion, one of the strongest Zergs around. Goes Jadong, and then depending on your fanboyism, Hydra or Zero. Hard to say. Zero is the more... Hydra is the more reminiscent of Jadong player, I feel. He's no... I mean, if you watch his games, he does have this tendency to go for utterly brutal, unstoppable attacks, whereas Zero, at his finest, Zero tends to be more artistic, if you would. Well, yeah, it depends on the definition of the word artistic, but Zero often likes to go for, when he's successful, I should say, he goes for indirect type approaches and goes for something clever, whereas Hydra, I feel his strength is more in his ability to just execute something so flawlessly, even if your opponent sees that it's coming, you can't stop it. Jadong, I think, is the best example of such a player. Even if it's like, he shows, reveals the map information, share map information with his opponent, I think Jadong would still defeat most pro gamers like 8 times out of 10. Oh, okay, man, 8 times out of 10 might be too high. 50-50 at least, I say. 50-50. Because J-Dog just seems like a player who just executes something so well, it seems like there's nothing you can do to stop it. And J-Dog, of course, familiar with all manners of attacks, but often I just feel he's more for the brute force sort of approach, the overpowering type of approach. That doesn't mean that J-Dog or Hydra here, as I should be talking a bit more about Hydra, goes always for direct frontal assault. That is not my point, but the best example is something with Mulus, for instance. Just stick with Mulus and you exploit a weak point and just drive the knife in there and twist it until your opponent dies, basically. That is what these players are great at. Whereas the way I see Zero, for instance, he's sort of this more acrobatic type fighter. And he won't just, find a place and try to twist the knifing. He might try to find multiple places and, defeat you through combination type attacks. Of course, all of this is not necessarily always true. It's more of a stereotype than anything else, I have to say. And Stats keeping his probe alive quite well thus far. Neither player doing anything truly crazy. Well, that depends, right? Because this is a fairly early gas with the pool coming out here from Hydra. He's put down his 3rd hash rate there, his natural 2nd hash rate at the 5 o'clock base. But he's got the gas reasonably quickly, and he's mining a good amount of it. He's probably going to go for the lair. Now, I do not believe this will be like the last game, any sort of 3-hatch Hydra bus. You would not mine gas this early, and we do see the lair going down here. So probably more of a standard build coming out from Hydra. You get the Spire next, and then you go for the Hydralist in, and the typical stuff. Stats is going to know this is going on here, and he does not need to be putting down so many cannons, unlike Snow, who, after his scouting probe, he should have sent out like 2 probes or something immediately afterwards. Or maybe not 2 probes, that would be overkill, but at least another probe immediately when his main probe died, instead of dithering for all that time. Because those rushes are devastating, unless he knows for sure that the Zerg player is not going for an early Hydra bus, like seeing the lair, for instance. Unless he absolutely knows, you cannot, I feel, take that sort of risk. I guess you could if you feel lucky. Maybe Snow felt he was lucky, but, well, he wasn't. And Perfective won. Whereas in this game, let's hope for an epic matchup, as would be fit players of these caliber. Again, I do have to give Hydra more of an edge. He has been playing very well. Same sort of flash. Hydra can defeat pretty much anyone. He's got a bit of a blind spot against the #1 KT player. Those Zerglings able to pick off the scouting probe here. And they will move to the front probably to try to intercept whatever units may come out. And they're just going to see the cannons, some of the zealots. Obviously not going to be able to do too much just yet. Hydra putting down another hatchery at his natural. He is going to go for the usual build, it looks like. It is interesting to note that Hydra has put down his second base, or I guess third base, however you want to call it, his non-natural expansion at the 5 o'clock base as opposed to the 3 o'clock base, where so many more Zergs are fond of putting their base there, because that is a much closer position and easier to defend, whereas at the 5 o'clock is harder to get reinforcements over. That Overlord getting picked off by the Corsair, telling a scouting Overlord there. Stats opting not to send his first Corsair immediately to scout. It might be in some danger of getting killed by a pair of Scourge. Hydralisk then coming out now. If the Corsair is not careful, it may even be picked off before it sees anything of value in terms of scouting. And here we see a Scourge, a pair of Scourge coming out. This is exactly what I mean. Quite dangerous, I feel, for a pro gamer to do that. I mean, you can always come back and try to finish out the Overlord or something like that, but I think getting scouting information is critical early on. You never know. Who knows what Hydra might have gone for. Maybe he decides to go for 5-hatch Hydralisk, which is what he's doing, or maybe he decided to get the lair and then fake the finish the lair, of course, but at the same time get a Hydralisk in very early and start massing Hydras for attack. You never know. I don't think I've ever seen a pro gamer go quite like that, though. But my point is, always wise to get scouting information. It is much easier to defeat something if you can see it coming, and now we see a lot of Mutalisks being morphed here for Hydra. I'm not sure whether this is completely wise. He must be confident, and now we have +1 attack upgrade finish. There is going to be a window of opportunity here for Stats to do some damage before +1 Carapace is complete. And this could be quite a good opportunity. He will need Zealot speed and then attack at the front, or one of these bases at the front, that could do significant damage if Hydra is not prepared. Hydra bringing some units to the main here to try to do what they can. Scourge coming in to try to pick off the Corsair, not successful. The Corsair's already got quite a few free hits off on those Mutalisks, and now we see the Corsairs, standing their ground but losing 2 of them. Massive attack here at the front by Stats. Both players, constant action here. Those Mutalisks getting caught by the Corsairs and taking all sorts of damage. Things are not looking so good for Hydra. He's going to lose almost all of his Mutalisks. He is desperately trying to hold on these Zealots at the front. He doesn't seem to have any units to deal with this Hydra. Oh no, things are going terrible for Hydra. I want to see an ace game between Flash and Hydra, but Stats may yet be able to win the game. No, I don't think he's going to be able to win outright. He has still done a good amount of damage. Killed quite a few drones here at the natural, broke down the defenses there, and Stats has managed to kill all the Mutalisks, so there is no offensive capability here for Hydra. For some time, there's also a Dark Templar here at the front. Going to see those Zerglings move out. It's not going to bother Hydra at all. A few Zealots with the +1 attack upgrade finish, and the cannons going to have no problem defending. And we see this Dark Templar going to go to work on the Zerglings, which is interesting. One Scourge there landing. And Hydra does not seem aware of that. Dark Templar getting 6 kills there. And now it's going to come in here. There is only the single Hydralisk and slow Overlords. There's nothing in the main. And Hydra did not rebuild. The Sunken Hydra playing with uncharacteristic sloppiness, I have to say. That Dark Templar going to finish off 4 more drones there. And a 5th one. That is a devastating attack. 11 kills on that Dark Templar. I mean, why did he have nothing to stop that? Dark Templar now going to be able to pick off some more Zerglings, going up to 14 kills. May get a 15 kill. Now it's snuck around there to the side. It's still alive with most of its health. The slow Overlords do nothing against that Dark Templar, rather. And now it finally is going to get caught and killed, but not before something like 16 or 17 kills. Hydra's economy is in some trouble here. He's managed to get himself out a pretty potent ground force, so that is something going for him. I don't think he can be defeated with the next attack, a lot of course, especially considering there aren't too many units out here for Stats. Stats is actually somewhat vulnerable on the ground here. He has good number of Corsairs. They're going to run into some of these Hydralisks. So I would say Stats has taken a nice little advantage, but it's hardly decisive. Hydra could easily come back if he manages to trap and destroy the next Protoss army that is going to push out here, or if he can kill most of these Corsairs without suffering too many losses. Either way, he would be right back in this game. He's massed up a lot of Hydralisks. If he can go for a nice attack here and try to stop Stats from putting up his third base, that would also get him right back into the swing of things here. As it stands, Stats has gotten him. He's also upgrading. That's got to be Dragoon range at the Cybernetics Core. And these Scourge coming in, going to be able to pick off just one Corsair. Oh, a second Corsair, so that's better. But 2 Corsairs getting picked off by something like 8 or 10 Scourge. I'm not sure that was worth it. That is quite more losses, surely, than Hydra wanted to suffer there. So, I don't know. I would have to say that, again, Hydra's failed to come back in this just yet, unless he can get something done with this next attack. There are a lot of Zealots out. They have +1 armor and +1 attack, whereas just +1 armor out for the Hydralisks. There are also 4 High Templar, no Mutalisks to dive bomb them. So unless Hydra can exhibit amazing control over his Hydralisks, wow, he is named Hydra. He better have amazing control over his Hydralisks. He is also putting down his 4th base and dodge storms particularly well. I don't think he's going to be able to win the next battle here. So Hydra is trying to put on a bit of pressure at the front. But I think both players realize that there's not too much that Hydra can actually do at this point besides posture. Hydra, I think it would be very dangerous if he tried to engage in any sort of decisive battle at this point to try to wipe out the army of the other player. But looks like both players just going to do their best to try to maneuver around a bit. Hydra now pushing ahead a bit. Storm there at the north not doing anything. Hydra excellent control. Now his force in the south going to be forced to pull back. Needs to be careful about not getting his units trapped there. Some of them do manage to escape in the middle and not get trapped. And now Hydra going to lose a few units here on the counterattack. But Hydra did kill some Dragoons and Zealots there on the initial offensive. He might be luring Stats into a nice little trap there. He is maneuvering all sorts of armies around the map. He's waiting for his lurkers to finish morphing. Good storm dodging. This is amazing storm dodging by Hydra, I have to say. And Stats perhaps storming a bit too early and eagerly. Hydra is going to lure Stats back into a trap here. It looks like he's got more units here waiting in the back, and he's got 2 lurkers. He's going to start burrowing. Oh, he's got so many more lurkers here in the north. 6 lurkers, and Stats, he does have the high ground advantage and a great storm over those burrow lurkers. Another great storm there over more lurkers and Hydralisks. Wow, 2 more storms. 3 more storms. Devastating storms. Hydra probably was not ready for all those storms, and now reinforcements coming in at the front. This is no trap. If this was a trap, it's completely failed because Hydra's lost nearly all of his army, and KD is going to win the series at this point. I have to say, Hydra doing specified hard stats. He needs to send those reinforcing Zealots now. He's bringing up all sorts of Zealot reinforcements. Zealots, of course, are the favorite unit for Protoss to be able to reinforce this type of attack since they move so fast on the map, Speedlots rather. And now Hydra's down to almost nothing for his defense. He's running on fumes here. His few lurkers in the back that he's trying to send around are getting caught and destroyed by the reinforcing units. There are no Sunkens at the front. This is GG. Brilliant maneuver by Stats in his attack despite Hydra's good play overall. I have to feel, dodging the first few storms, but the last few storms were more critical. Stats looking very pleased with himself. He's redeemed himself in my eyes here, and Hydra surely got to feel somewhat frustrated here. Hydra not letting too much emotion showing his face, but I do see signs of frustration there. His mouth open, kind of annoyed, scratching his head, not pleased with himself. Stats looking very happy. He's redeemed himself in my eyes, I have to say. Well done. KD wins 4-2 over Entus. Very impressive. Thank you for watching the series.
그렇죠. 이 강아지로 소문난 시즌 엔투스 워낙 이 막강한 엔트리를 보유하고 있어서 KT 롤스터 입장에 상당히 까다로울 거다라는 이야기가 많았는데 오늘 경기 신하들의 힘과 소유한 기존의 원투펀치가 활약을 해주면서 깔끔하게 4대2로 격파하는 데 성공을 했습니다.
사실 김경 선수는 그 실력에 비해서 그리고 성적에 비해서 약간 좀 부침감도 없잖아 있었어요. 워낙 슈퍼에이스 김경 선수가 있기 때문에 그런데 42승이면은 어느 팀에 가서도 무조건 슈퍼에이스입니다.
그렇죠.
근데 그런 선수가 약간 자신의 실력이 안 나왔을 때 얼마나 괴로웠겠습니까? 근데 지금 다 극복하고 포스지 중요한 경기에 4연승을 했어. 4연승.
그렇죠. 저희가 6강 듀오를 중계하면서 김대영 선수 40승까지 한 선수는 제대로 못하고 있다는 얘기를 말씀드렸는데
그렇죠.
야 이거 플레이오프 보니까 완벽하게 각성해서 지금 달라져 돌아요.
완전하게 자신의 존재감을 다 보여주는 김대영 선수가 됐습니다.
이래서 김대영이 무섭다는 거를
그렇죠.
중요한 경기에서 보여주고 있어요.
그렇습니다. 분명히 팀 내 또 다른 에이스로서의 역할을 김대영 선수가 해주고 있고 한 번 살아나면 완벽하게 살아나서 상대방의 어떤 카드든지 꺾어낼 수 있는 화력을 보여주는 김대영과 그리고 누구를 만나도 무서워하지 않을 수 있는 이영호 선수의 활약 거기다가 오늘 김성대 선수가 진용화를 잡았습니다. 팀 내 에이스는 김성대라고 생각을 해도 돼요. 오늘의 어떤 MVP는
세 번째 경기에서 김성대 선수의 마지막까지 포기하지 않는 투지를 발휘하면서 승리를 만들어내지 않았습니까? 오늘 KT 롤스터의 저그 4인방이 오늘 경기에서 5할 이상의 승리를 기록했어요.
경기가 딱 끝났는데 어떤